So we're here with the integration team, which includes Space Tango and the University of Florida. And so this is where we put biology and hardware and Cube Lab all together, seal it up, hand it over, and it goes on SpaceX 26. So a Cube Lab is everything in your laboratory shoved into a boot box. And so we work with our implementation partner, Space Tango, and so they've developed hardware that goes into this Cube Lab that can feed the cells. So there's a fluidic component, and it feeds nutrients to these tissue chips, and it warms them up because we like to have warm cells and tissues. And then it also takes pictures and video. We can downlink that, and we can analyze that video and look at the contraction rate and other changes in the tissue over time that the experiment is running. We've been continuously adding on functionalities. So, for example, in our first launch, we were testing the hardware and the biology together and looking at muscle growth with these 3D engineered muscle tissue chips. On SpaceX 25, we actually added in the capability to stimulate them so that they receive electrical pulse and they contract just like your muscles contract. And so that was great. We showed that we can capture this biomechanics from space. So now we're taking all of that, reflying the same tissue chips, the same system, and we've added in this capability to add a natural product. It's in the skin of green tomatoes. And so there's been a lot of research that's been shown, particularly in mouse models, that it reverses muscle atrophy, it increases muscle mass, so there's a lot of benefits. I think for a long time the question was, what's the effect of microgravity or space flight on the human body for astronaut health? But the question's kind of changed now. We're asking, what can microgravity tell us about muscle loss or about how tissues decline or change, and then translate that information to Earth to look at disease progression. The age-related muscle atrophy is called sarcopenia. So that's a clinical condition, and it's really a huge healthcare burden. The idea is that in microgravity, that the disease progression that we might see in the tissue is faster. And can we translate that knowledge to understand disease progression on Earth? At the University of Florida, we study and develop drugs to test on various targets for diseases. So it's really just using that laboratory of microgravity, but doing the same thing that we do on Earth and finding therapeutics. That's what the College of Pharmacy really is about, is developing those therapeutics that will be for the clinical environment.